Hello everyone, Merry Christmas and welcome to Your Health in Your Hands. I'm Dr. David Ajibade with the Brain and Body Foundation. And I want to thank you for taking the time out from your busy festivities to join us on this program. If you remember, we had pharmacist Chris on and we were talking about drug use, misuse and abuse. And a lot of you sent in your comments and your concerns. As a matter of fact, I remember this really interesting one. Somebody called from Lagos. He said all the taxi drivers were there, the workers union were there watching this video show, and when it came to the part about the video that we inserted, the video that was made by the Pharmacy Alliance of Nigeria, it's a private group of pharmacists who are bent on educating Nigerians on drug use and abuse, what we're talking about today. One of the people from that group, the taxi drivers group, calls me and is like, they're really, really upset. He says, well, we had someone talk in Igbo, we had someone talk in Hausa, we had someone talk in broken English, but there was no one who said anything in Yoruba. And they were really, really, really upset. So, and then after he was done, someone else came over and took the phone from him and said, basically the same thing. You guys, you have to fix it this time. So I was like, listen, we're really, really sorry, and I'll take your concerns to the Pharmacy Alliance of Nigeria. Let them know that this is a problem. I mean, why? I'm going to query our guest today on that too, because I don't know why they shouldn't have Yoruba as one of the. It is, after all, one of the three major languages in Nigeria. So why wasn't it on? So big problem. Thank you. All right, thank you again for joining us. We're going to continue our discussion. We're going to focus more on abuse this time because we dealt with it earlier too. But before we get into it, we're going to show another video by the Pharmacy Alliance of Nigeria. Remember, this is an independent group. It's not being produced by NTA. It's not even endorsed. But this is just a group of people who want to educate Nigerians. So take a listen and we'll be right back.
Every day, millions of tablets, of capsules, and even of injections are taken by Nigerians, either to treat some illnesses or to stay healthy. While these medicines are designed to heal, do you know that inappropriate use of these medicines can actually lead to more serious conditions or even death?
To stay safe, always consult your pharmacist before taking any new medication.
Did you know that taking certain medicines for erectile dysfunction or to enhance sexual performance, together with some of your medicines for your heart, can increase your risk of having a heart attack?
Even the herbal supplements are not spared. Did you know that taking this drug, aspirin, with supplements like garlic or ginger could lead to fatal internal bleeding?
Some of us like taking grape juice, which is good for us, very good for us. But did you know that taking it with some medications like antimalarial, which contain artemether lumefantrine, some antibiotics, which contain erythromycin, and some erectile dysfunction drugs for men, can cause serious side effects, which can be mild or even life-threatening.
Taking some antibiotics with milk can actually affect the absorption and effectiveness of the medication. As much as possible, use water.
Not all sicknesses and deaths are caused by your village people. Some are self-inflicted, especially when you take medicines recommended for your neighbors because you feel not the same thing they do you.
Even when a drug is original, the way it's stored determines how well it will work. Many drugs must be kept in a cool room temperature, while others are required to be kept in the fridge, not freezer. Some vaccines require specific temperature for storage.
For your medicine to be safe and effective,
Don't self-medicate, even if Google says so.
And remember, don't buy your medicines from unauthorized chemists, kiosks, hawkers, buses, or even supermarkets. Don't.
See your doctor regularly to review your medications.
Schedule medication review session with your pharmacist.
store your medicines properly.
Look out for the RX sign anytime that you need to get medicine.
As pharmacists, We're committed to providing safe and effective medicines for all.
We
are pharmacists. We care.
Welcome back. A big thank you to the Pharm Alliance of Nigeria for putting that together. I think we need more and more videos like this to educate Nigerians everywhere. We are going to continue our discussion on drug use, misuse, and abuse, focusing mainly on abuse. And with me back on the show is none other than my good friend, pharmacist Chris Ebadan of the Shalem Pharmacy based in Dunes, Maitama.
Yeah.
I don't know how you manage to wangle that one out, but somehow good.
We thank God.
Good for you.
Good to be back.
Yeah. And we had apparently you had a lot of calls and people were, I warned you about that, didn't you?
Well, it was good at least. It shows that people are watching, people are concerned about drug abuse and misuse in Nigeria, because some of the calls were just to confirm that yes, we need this to be talked about. People need to hear about these things. Let's keep talking. Some of them called to just say thank you. I've always wanted this to be out there.
Good.
So I'm sure,
and especially for where kids are concerned, because I forgot to mention this in the last show, but if you start giving kids a lot of antibiotics, a lot of these strong medications at a tender age, it messes up with their guts and their gut flora, their digestive system. And I've had kids, as you know, we deal with brain disorders, autism and other conditions, who they were absolutely normal before, and they had, maybe the child had an air infection which wouldn't go away, and they hammered him with antibiotics for an entire year. An entire year. You're not supposed to go on antibiotics for more than, what, 2 weeks max?
7 days, 14 days.
14 days.
Well, you know, the thing about antibiotics is that some of them are that strong, and like you rightly said, the gut has population of bacteria, good bacteria and bad bacteria. The thing about it is that when you take these antibiotics, it doesn't just kill the bad bacteria, it kills the good bacteria.
Which are vital for brain function, gastrointestinal function. The bottom line is that kid ended up with autism.
Wow.
Ended up couldn't speak, couldn't do a lot of things that he could do before they started on the course of treatment. So
that's why we mentioned, you know, this is not so popular, but I think more people need to know about probiotics, taking probiotics after a course of antibiotics to help bring back the flora of bacteria in the gut. And so more people need to go to their pharmacist, go to your doctor, ask them about good probiotics that you can take after a course of antibiotics to help you get back not just build your immune system, but get back the good bacteria to do what they're meant to do.
Absolutely. I just felt it was important we said that today.
Yes.
All right, so let's go on to abuse.
Yeah.
Let's first of all talk about the general or commonest types of drugs that are being abused in Nigeria today, especially.
All right. In Nigeria, just like most places in the world, I think in Nigeria, alcohol definitely is abused. I think is at the top. And then you have marijuana, you have cannabis, you have
you're speaking English now. We want to remember who are some of our viewers are. Okay.
You know, you're the Yoruba, so you should take care of that.
What are the common terms that are used for this for cannabis, marijuana, on the street names like that?
They have all sorts of names. I cannot remember.
Igbo, ganja.
Exactly. Igbo, yes.
Things
like that. Yes, things like that. Yes.
Of course, those are contaminated with other things as well.
Yeah, of course. And I also know from information that tramadol tramadol use in Nigeria is one of the highest in the world.
What?
Relative to our population. And it has become
the highest?
Yes, in the world. If you go around shanties in Nigeria, Abuja here, Lagos, Kano, anywhere, most of the shanties, one way to know that these things are really, really abused by a lot of Nigerians, you see empty packs. You see codeine packs, empty packs of tramadol, empty sachets of tramadol everywhere. And that's true. I mean, somebody used it. And tramadol, for example, is an opioid analgesic used for moderate to severe pain.
Opioid is in the same class as morphine, right?
Morphine, yes.
Right. But not as strong as
oxycodone.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, these drugs, they have side effects. One might have less side effects than the other. That's why they are prescribed. But you know, some of these young people find that they get some kind of euphoria, some kind of high when they take these drugs in high doses. And so I think one of the reasons why tramadol is such a menace is that you go to markets, you see people with wheelbarrows with packs of tramadol, and for 100 naira you get a sachet of 10. And so it's so cheap and so readily available. And interestingly, I know as a pharmacist that the common strength of tramadol is 50 to 100 milligram, which is sufficient for. But these days we get to hear that these boys have access to 400 milligram of tramadol. And
in one tablet?
Yes, 400 milligram of tramadol.
That can't be a real one. That's probably...
We have, in the books, you see that they produce 50 to 400 milligram, but that's not something you just get at the marketplace or even from the pharmacy. It's a prescription drug, and so you need to have a lot of caution before you give such drugs. But these guys take it, and what they say, it makes you forget all your problems at that time. But the truth of the matter is that your heart is at risk, your liver, your kidney. Tramadol at high doses, continuous use, has the capacity to put someone in coma and then lead to death.
Wow.
And these happen. And so sometimes especially like we mentioned last time, there is a higher number of young people coming down with kidney failure, with a lot of liver problems, and everybody's wondering what's happening. And sometimes the root of it is some of these drugs that are being abused. We even here have information that some of these painkillers, that people use them to ripen fruits, for crying out loud. I mean, they buy some of these painkillers and the tablets, grind them into powder and use it to ripen some fruits that you and I buy from the market. We also hear young people, especially teenagers, you know, some of these simple analgesics that you use for headaches and all that, they put it into soft drinks. And you know, when you put them into some of these soft drinks, I don't want to mention their names, it's there's a reaction. I mean, once you put it in, there's a bubbling effect, and then they consume it and they say they get some kind of, I don't know, but it's a big problem, and everyone has to put their hands on deck to deal with it.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
A big menace.
And in the last segment, we'll go into that some more, but the first question is why? Why do people get into this? Is it just to get a high, just so they can get through work? And I mean, I understand the transport workers, especially the motorcyclists, the people do like to work long hours.
From what exactly? From what we know, and then some of them say that tramadol makes them alert, and then some others it says it gives them some kind of sexual prowess. It helps them in that activity, and so
boost libido.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that. I don't think that's even one of the effects. But you know, when one person says, I took this and he did this for me, it goes round, and it's quite unfortunate. You know, I was reading about a group of 3 young men in school, roommates that got introduced to tramadol, and because of the feeling that they got, you know, they started missing their classes, and for a whole term they didn't go to class, and they're just addicted to this thing, and then they had to be withdrawn from school. And the painful part is that even when these young men, these young women get to a point where, okay, I'm better than this, we don't have a lot of centers that can help them. One thing I always say is that yes, these guys have messed up their lives and done these things, but sometimes we should see them as sick people, just the way we treat someone with a heart problem. This is a sickness, in quotes. But down here we treat them as victims, and it's good for you, you deserve it.
Ostracize them, and they take them.
You know, but sometimes we need to like you asked, why? So many people, I mean, some people come into the pharmacy and maybe they have some kind of condition and we say stress, and they ask, who is not stressed in Nigeria? Anybody, everybody in Nigeria is stressed. And so some people see that as kind of way out of the stress. Let me not remember the stress.
Right. Well, it's a big problem, folks, a really, really big problem, and hopefully we'll be able to talk about some of the possible solutions to it, and we can also point you to certain areas in your location where there are what you call rehabilitation centers and all that, at least credible ones. So if you go to our website, you can also find out some more information on that, brainandbodyfoundation.org. We have to leave it at this point. We will be back in a few minutes. Do not go away. Welcome back. We are talking about drug abuse in Nigeria and some of the commonly abused drugs like tramadol, which is a pain medication. We don't want to leave this segment without actually talking about possible solutions. And as you know, these drugs have a way of affecting the brain, shifting the brain chemistry, making them more and more dependent, addicted to these drugs. It doesn't mean that it's irreversible. There are things that can be done to help to address it. And as you know, our goal with this show and our goal with the Brain and Body Foundation is to point you through things you can use and do where you are, whether you're in Birnin Kebbi or Zungeru or wherever in the country you are, so that you can at least get some solution for your people. It's not an easy task, is it?
Not at all. Not at all.
With addictions.
Not at all.
It's definitely
it's not a one-day job.
Not a one-day thing.
It's not a one-week job.
And most people who just say they're just going to cold turkey, when they say cold turkey, it's like they're just feel like willpower. I'm just going to stop, and I'm going to stop once and for all.
Doesn't help.
It's not possible. For some few people may be able to do it, but most people cannot.
Most people can't. The truth of the matter is that they need help.
Yeah.
All right. They need a lot of help from family. Parents need to become aware of the children that are around them. I mean, you see a young man or a young woman always with a bottle of Coke or bottle, especially those that are colored. I mean, you want to find out why is this person always find out what's inside. Sometimes it's not the soft drink that is inside. You know, you see a young person always with Tom Tom in his mouth. Why is he always with Tom Tom? Find out. It's not just because he wants to have a clear breath. You know, those are some of the signs of addiction. People that use drugs, apart from all the other things. I mean, that happens. You know, the shaky feelings and you know.
So there are ways you can recognize if someone is on something like tramadol.
Yes.
Is there like a slurring of speech? Is there something in the eyes or?
Well, you know, that's the interesting thing with tramadol. You don't have, because tramadol really doesn't have a strong effect on the respiratory part of the body. It's more on the heart and then the brain and all that. And so some of those things you see with some of the other drugs of addiction, you probably will not see it with tramadol. But you know, you just know as a professional, and if you're aware and you see these guys. You know, they're always, I mean, for example, like you said, the transporters, you see somebody drive from here to Lagos and then gets on the car, wants to drive back immediately the same day. You know, something must be controlling. You know, so
and it's not just transporters, of course. We know the military, the
students especially, you know.
Police people, other people have to stay at night and they're under high pressure situations where they have to.
And so we all, everyone just needs to, we just need to keep on talking about this. You know, a recent study by the one of these organizations, I think funded by the UN, says that about 14.3 Nigerians between the ages of 25 and 59 are addicted to one form of drug substance or another.
14.3 million.
14.3 million.
Wow.
And that's a lot. And that's not what just got me. What got me was that it was between the ages of 25 and 59. I mean, that's the most productive
times of our lives.
And so something needs to be done and done fast. You know, the Brain and Body Foundation, I mean, like Dr. Dyer said, if you go to the website, there are a lot of information there. There are certain things that can help, but apart from the person's willpower, there are certain things that, I mean, they need a professional, someone to encourage them, the psychologist to talk to them.
Hold them, walk them through. Unfortunately, we don't really have
a lot of that.
A lot of them are available.
A lot of that.
So since we mentioned it, thank you for mentioning the Brain and Body Foundation too. I owe you something. But so we've talked about probiotics. We've talked. The bottom line is to rebuild the brain, is to strengthen the brain, is to help to heal the brain, because you can be sure once you start taking drugs like that, you have damaged the brain. Maybe not irreparably, but to some extent you have. So we can address things like the inflammation in the brain. You can use strong omega-3s that we talked about. You can use antioxidants, anti-inflammatories, and basically things that help to just nourish and put the brain back on a good course. Of course, this is not about us, it's really about you. And there are also other things that in the markets that you can get, like I believe ginger and things like garlic and other certain kinds of plants. Well, very soon we'll have someone on to actually talk about what you can get in the marketplaces or close around your areas where they can take where you are, so they can help. Not just help with the brain, but help with the immune system, help with the kidney function, liver function. And well, that's another thing, by the way, detoxification. So there are things that can be done to help really safely remove these toxins and these chemicals from the body. And you'll be surprised. It's quite easy to do that.
The truth of the matter is that most of the things that heal our body is in food. You know, and so when you eat the right food, and the right food is sometimes, especially in our climate. I mean, when we were growing up, everyone had a garden, and I mean, I remember as a young person, you don't come out and say you have a fever, because what my grandma or any older person in the house would do, they get what we call bitter leaf and just grind it, and you know, they on that grinding stone, and then put a little pepper, and you lick it for a few minutes, and you just sweat, and the fever goes. You know, and so as young kids, we hated the bitter taste, but the older folks, they knew that it does something. And so medicine really is in our food. What we eat is very, very important.
Especially in vegetables.
Yeah, like we said last time, get to a professional. Don't take drugs because my neighbor took it, he had the same thing, and he got well. No. Ask a professional, ask your doctor, go to the pharmacy and ask to see a pharmacist. Please don't buy medications from bus stops, from hawkers, from just anywhere. They are injurious to your kidney, to your brain, to your liver, you know, just totally injurious to your whole body. And so it's important, if we must live well, we do right to ourselves, you know, and be very cautious about this. It's a big mess, and we all need to do something about it.
Definitely. Well, folks, our time has come to an end again, unfortunately. I want to thank you, Pharmacist Chris.
Thank you for having me.
We've known each other for about over 30 years. So
30 years, yes.
Chris, tough. But thank you. Hopefully we'll have you back again.
Thank you so much.
Folks, now we've come to the end of the show. Please remember, your life is vital. It's the only one you have. And remember to have a wonderful Christmas festivity. Be on guard, be on the watch when you're traveling, please. Make sure you travel safely, okay? Be safe.
Right.
So God bless and have a great week.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Bye.